How many of you were not there last week? Okay, quite a few over here. So last week we had started with the contribution of Swami Dayanand Saraswati. And what is special about this year vis-a-vis the life of Swami Dayanand Saraswati? I would like few others to answer. 200 years. So we are celebrating the 200 years of the birth of Swami Dayanand Saraswati. So last week we had spoken about why are we going to be celebrating it. We don't celebrate everyone's birthday. I mean, of course, while you're there, we all celebrate. But after one is gone, how many of us remember the birthdays of our grandparents or great-grandparents? Very, very few. And even less do we end up celebrating it. पर स्वामी दयानंद के जन्म को हम लोग 200 साल आज भी मना रहे हैं क्योंकि उन्होंने एक विरासत, he has left behind a legacy for us. And it's not about he having constructed a fort or a palace. That's not the legacy he has left behind. The legacy that he has left behind impacts our lives even today. And it will continue to impact our lives even in the future. आज भी उनका प्रभाव है और कल भी रहेगा. तो इसलिए उनकी उस विरासत को याद करते हुए हाउ इट इज़ इम्पैक्टिंग, वो आज भी अपने जीवन में किस तरीके से अपना प्रभाव छोड़ रही है, उस लिए हम लोग 200 वर्ष मना रहे हैं. तो पिछले सप्ताह में वी स्पोक अबाउट हाउ स्वामी दयानंद बिलीफ से निकाल करके लॉजिक और साइंस के क्षेत्र में ले आए. रिलीजन इज नॉट अ मैटर ऑफ इंडिविजुअल बिलीफ. मैंने इसको भगवान समझ लिया, मैंने उसको भगवान समझ लिया, दोनों ही भगवान है. ऐसा नहीं है. भगवान का स्वरूप एक ही है. माने न माने, फॉलो इट और वी डोंट फॉलो इट, दैट इज आवर चॉइस. बट द आइडेंटिटी ऑफ द गॉड, द स्वरूप ऑफ गॉड इज वन एंड ओनली वन. About Swami Dayanand's belief. It's logical, rational, scientific, and it is one. It always was it always will remain the same way. कल भी वही था, आज भी वही है और कल भी वही रहेगा. अचानक 200-600 साल पहले, 800 साल पहले, 1000 साल पहले कोई अचानक जन्म लेगा या ले लिया और उसने भगवान का कोई नया स्वरूप डिस्कवर किया, वो संभव ही नहीं है. It's not possible for someone to have born 1000-2000 years back and suddenly discovered yet another Swarup of God. So he talked about it in terms of eternal truth, that which remains constant across time zones and that remains constant for everyone. So therefore 3 principles. Principle 1 is not belief but science, logic and rationality. Principle 2, the same across all time zones. And principle 3, the same for everyone. So fundamentally, हम लोग आगे बढ़ते हैं. नहीं, इससे पहले. Fundamentally, he clarified the concept of God, therefore dharma. And this he didn't say is my discovery or my invention. Very often we find religions start, or what we call as religion, start with individuals. Jesus said so, prophet said so. He said it's not me who is saying this. Go back to the ancient book knowledge. Which knowledge? The knowledge that is there in Vedas. And you will find all of it over there. So therefore the big difference that Swami Dayananda made was connected us back to our roots. This is a legacy that belongs to not just the Indians, it belongs to the entire humankind. So therefore his principles were universal. Now moving forward, दिस इज़ वॉट वी हैड कवर्ड द लास्ट टाइम. पिछले बार जब हम लोगों ने बात की थी तो हम लोगों ने उनकी इस विरासत के बारे में बात किया था, जहाँ कहा था कि ईश्वर के सच्चे स्वरूप को उन्होंने रखा, धर्म के स्वरूप को रखा और स्वरूप को इस तरीके से रखा कि कल, आज और कल, मतलब बीता हुआ कल, आज और आने वाले कल में उसमें कोई बदलाव नहीं होगा। और स्वरूप को इस तरीके से भी रखा कि आप में, मेरे में और अन्यों में भी कोई बदलाव नहीं होगा, वो स्वरूप उसी तरह से रहेगा। इसलिए कोई भी धर्म, कोई भी मत जो बाद में आए हैं, वो सब धर्म है ही नहीं, वो सब तो मत है। और अलग अलग गुरुओं ने अपने अपने नाम से मतों को शुरू कर दिया है, बल्कि स्वामी दयानंद ने अपने नाम से कुछ नहीं शुरू किया। उन्होंने कहा जो भी मैं कर रहा हूं वो सारा का सारा वेदों से कनेक्टेड है। मूविंग फॉरवर्ड, दिस लेगेसी दैट ही गॉट, it was like all of us were caught in a room, in a dark room with all the windows closed, and we did not even know what was around us. Now imagine if we were in that room, and in that room for a very, very long time, what kind of a life would we be leading? What Swami Dayananda did was to light the first lamp. First lamp in that dark room. What was that lamp? The lamp was that of knowledge. That knowledge came from the Vedic knowledge. So as soon as he lighted that lamp, in the light of that lamp, he actually could see all the ill practices happening around us. Just as the way if in a room you light the lamp and that room has been closed for a long time, you will start seeing the dirt around in the room, which will not be visible until there is light. So therefore he saw the dirt in the society and he started cleaning that. So first he had the foundation of knowledge, but second he had the courage to clean. He didn't just have knowledge, sit in his own cave and kept doing meditation. He actually came down to the field and said, let me clean. Why did he do that? Because he said our country, our society, the whole world needs to understand what is the truth. So where did he start from? Places. But I'll give you a few examples. One of the most oppressed sections of the society was the women. Why were they oppressed? Because A, they did not have knowledge, or they were denied knowledge. Now it seems like it's a common acceptance, but 100, 200 years back, there weren't gurukuls for women, there weren't schools for women. The first gurukul, the first school for women was actually established by the followers of Swami Dayanand Saraswati. So A, they didn't have access to knowledge. Second, due to a variety of other reasons, they had been oppressed. Typical examples. And this oppression was a little more in north than what we find in south. There were geopolitical reasons for that. Had faced oppression time and again for thousands of years. And in that invasion, obviously the men folk went to fight, the women stayed at home, half of the men returned, or sometimes even they did not return. And therefore a large section of the women were left to fend for themselves. Right? Therefore the widows found it better to get on to sati than to lead a life where no one was there to support them. In fact, not just not support them, but they were subjugated. There were stories of how the Mughal invaders, the Afghans, Turks came in and took the women folk from India to their own cities and sold them as slaves. So in those situations, they found answers. Cruel it may seem at that time, but they found answers like the Parda system. They found answers like the Sati system. They found answers like child marriage. And therefore all of these came in periods of huge subjugation, huge adversity. It's not easy, right, to follow these practices. Right? And over a period of time, they became a part of the society. Swami Dayanand opposed all of these and clarified they never were. So they covered it by religion and said this is explained by religion. Sati is explained by religion. They started worshipping the women who went on to sati. Swami Dayananda fundamentally hit at the root of it and said this is nonsense. Right? Now we have to understand whenever it had started, there was a geopolitical context around it. Right? Never was it the right thing to do. But certain situations may have forced people at that point in time to do certain actions. Right? The correction that came in through Swami Dayanand, because he, through the Vedas, could clearly say, this is right or this is wrong. So women education got introduced, I wouldn't say introduced, reintroduced in India post the work that Swami Dayanand did. And this is part of history. All of these systems that we talk about, right, they got opposed through Swami Dayanand Saraswati. Now moving forward, one other section of society which was oppressed was the so-called Dalits, the untouchables or the lower castes. Once again, so any section of the society which is oppressed, fundamentally you can take it that that operation starts from denying knowledge. You deny knowledge, you can oppress that person. So just as the women were denied knowledge, so was knowledge denied to the lower castes. Knowledge became a domain only of the Brahmin. Swami Dayanand again attacked. He said the caste system fundamentally, जाति प्रथा जो थी वो जन्म के ऊपर तो थी नहीं. जाति प्रथा जो थी वो एक व्यक्ति के व्यवसाय के ऊपर है. It is basis the profession, the occupation of the person that he is following. When does a person make the choice of an occupation? When does a person make a choice of an occupation? After he has got knowledge, right? So until 10th standard, everyone study the same syllabus. But after 10th, we start choosing our branches, science, commerce, or anything else. So therefore, the right to education has to be the same and uniform to everyone until one can make that choice. Is that fair? So, one thing led to the other. If he said the choice of occupation is what decides the caste of the person, then the knowledge or the choice to or the right to education should go to everyone. After the right to education is given to everyone, I can choose profession A over B. Someone may choose another profession, and depending upon the choice that I am making, and how am I making those choices? I am making those choices basis my ability to acquire the knowledge, my behavior, my conduct, my interest, so on and so forth. Will my caste be decided? So in this scheme of things, is there any subjugation? Is there any subjugation in a choice of my caste based profession? So fundamentally, that's what he had done. Moving forward, taking advantage of this subjugation, the subjugation that we had self-imposed on ourselves, and imposition was not due to the invaders coming. While the Parda system, the Sati system, etc. was in some cases influenced by the invaders coming, this was self-imposed by us. Of this self-imposition in our history? Do we find the caste system in Mahabharata? Any example? क्या आवाज नहीं आ रही है? महाभारत में कास्ट सिस्टम नहीं है. जवाब दें इनका. नहीं, ज्ञान दिया वो एक पक्ष है, परंतु दूसरा पक्ष ये भी तो है कि उनको ज्ञान नहीं भी दिया. ज्ञान नहीं भी दिया मतलब जब वो आए सभा में तो उनका उपहास हुआ, तभी तो वो द्रोण के साथ गए. ऐसा ऐसा पूरा सही नहीं है, उनको हर जगह पर सूत पुत्र कहा गया है। नहीं तो नहीं नहीं, पर हम लोग उदाहरण, अब दो पक्ष हैं। वन पार्ट ऑफ द स्टोरी इज देयर आर of aberrations in all our ancient texts, and Mahabharata is no exception. What we have seen on the television may or may not be the full truth, but the fact of the matter is that even in the times of महाभारत हुआ ही इसलिए क्योंकि पतन शुरू हो चुका था ना। अब वो पतन थे और नहीं थे वो एक अलग विषय हो सकता है, परंतु अगर हम लोग पतन के रास्ते पर होते ही नहीं तो महाभारत भी नहीं होती। महाभारत से पतन शुरू नहीं हुआ, महाभारत तो पतन हो चुका था, उसके कारण हुआ है। सो एनीवे, फास्ट फॉरवर्ड, द was self-imposed on ourselves by us, which divided the society, taking advantage of the caste system. What happened? What happens when a society is divided? Easier for outsiders to come and conquer. What else happened? Hatred towards each other. What else? Sorry? Society imbalance. Fundamentally, conversions. Those you find, the Muslim and the Christian population in the country today, are not the ones who have come from outside. They are our own brothers and sisters, right? But imagine yourself in their shoes, and imagine generation after generation, if you're denied the opportunity for education, for growth, for prosperity, for health, for respect and dignity, how would you be feeling? And for no fault of yours. So therefore, who we find today, and today a large part of our country, right, is converted. Fundamentally, they were all part of the same family. They still are. They may be carrying a cap, right, or wearing a cross, doesn't matter. But fundamental reasons were that this division led to permanent scars, or what may seem permanent in the society, and weakened us completely. Swami Dayanand and his followers, and you can check in the history if there is any precedent to that, actually said, let's take them back. What did he say? Let's take them back. Where? Back into the Hindu fold. Who could have said that? Could an outsider have said that? We have to fundamentally understand. Only a sannyasi could have said that. The reason for that being, sannyasi or Swami stood at the highest apex of the social pyramid. Right? He was a Brahmin. Brahmin meaning Brahmin as per that tradition. Swami Dayanand was a Brahmin. And he had taken sannyas. Not all Brahmins take sannyas. So as a sannyasi, he enjoyed the respect and the clout. And when he said, people took notice. Of course there was opposition. But yet, he countered it and said this. No, it's not easy to say something like this when you're sitting at the apex. What is your incentive? आप शीर्ष स्थान पर बैठे हुए हैं, हर कोई आकर के आपके चरण छू रहा है, आपको सम्मान कर रहा है ना, आपको अलग अलग स्थानों पर बुला रहा है, और उसके बाद आप कहें कि उन लोगों को आप अंदर ले आओ, अपने भाई का दर्जा दो, जो कि आपके एक तरीके से दुश्मन हैं, तो आप अपने ही अनुयायियों को दुश्मन बना रहे हैं, है या नहीं? If you are sitting at the apex and saying something which is completely contrary to what your whole population has been believing, you actually are risking delineating your own population, your own followers. But Swami Dayananda had the courage to take that risk. Doesn't matter. Let's get them back. Now, it had two impact. One, it stopped the pace of, or reduced the pace of conversion and started the pace of reconversion. Right? So that was the work of Swami Dayanand, or the legacy of Swami Dayanand and his followers. I can go on because the legacy is not so short. ये इतना कम भी नहीं है कि मैं 5, 7, 10 मिनट में ख़त्म कर दूँ. But just to give you a glimpse, he actually also started a legacy of knowledge in the common man. You know how many books he wrote? How many books can any author write? I mean, if you were to look at any of the authors, how many could they have written? 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 64. In an age there was no computers, so how were the books being written? Imagine. Who was proofreading it? 64 books. And after him, the followers, you know what they wrote? How many books? More than 2,000 books. More than 2,000 titles, and these are not titles which are small pamphlets. These are the books around the Bhashya of the Vedas, all the Upanishads, Shastras, Darshan, and the people who wrote them were not the Brahmins. They may have been born in a Brahmin family, but they were the common men who studied and wrote. Even today it's being written. Which other institute has created a legacy of knowledge like the way they did? So we will talk about that and the legacy around how he contributed, or actually not contributed, he led the freedom struggle. Not many people are aware of it, and there is a political reason behind it. Why we are not aware of it? Or why is it not taught? It's like the Kashmir files or the Kerala files or the story. It's not taught, it's not known, but that's the reality. So we will cover that in the subsequent sessions. But the point that I would like you to remember is, as we celebrate 75 years of independence, we just celebrated it, right? But 76 is no less than 75, right? Independence has to be celebrated every day. As we celebrate 200 years of his birth, let's connect the dots, right? There are many more files to be opened, right, which we will open in the subsequent session. So with this, I pause the session today. We are collating the knowledge of Swami Dayanand on a site called swamidayanand.in. So you can also have a look. It's being collated, so we are adding to it regularly. For those who are good at writing, would like to read about Swami Dayanand and contribute to it, are invited to join, because you can also read and contribute to the collation of content on this site. With this, I got a couple of announcements to make. There is a national camp being organized for boys and girls. So we had a camp over here in September. Some of you in the room, in this hall, had participated. This is a national camp. A national camp takes the level of training very many notches above. Right? We had a non-residential camp here. This would be a residential camp. We had it for 7 days. They are having it for 15 days. 1 to 15th of June for the boys, and 16 to 23rd of June for the girls. This is in Haryana. I know schools would have reopened, and therefore for most of you it might be difficult. However, there are many youth sitting here. This camp is up to youth of 25 or 28 years. So for those who would like to attend, you can enroll for it. Please give your names to Vratika ji, who is sitting behind, or you can give it to me. The national camp for boys, when I say boys, it's not exactly boys, it's for the youth and for both genders. So this is being organized. If we get enough names, we can actually organize the travel together such that the interdependencies are taken care of. So that is this, that's one. The conductor of the camp is Swami Devraj ji. He was the sannyasi who had conducted the camp here. Right? Last year he was 86, so now he's 87 years old. He himself is an inspiration to get training from. Now moving further, और कोई announcement है? There is an announcement of a bereavement. We all would have heard, particularly the old timers, जो पुराने सदस्य हैं, वो लाला इंदर सेन जी के बारे में जानते हैं. उनके बेटे बंधु चंडोक जी कई बार इधर आते भी हैं और हम लोगों के सदस्य हैं. तो उनके एक और बेटे हैं श्री इंदो चंडोक. उनकी पुत्रवधू का देहांत कल हुआ है. तो इस पूरी संस्था के बनाने में इस परिवार का बहुत बड़ा सहयोग योगदान रहा है. So therefore this is a bereavement in the family. So the name of the daughter-in-law is Srimati Chitra Chandok. She is the wife of Mr. Vicky Chandok. So I would request all of you to just get up for 2 minutes and pray for the departed soul. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I request you to please take your seats. Those who would like to recite the Shanti part, any volunteers? You want to come here? Who else? आप भी ठीक है. You also come. आ जाइए. और कोई शांति पाठ? हाँ, come. So while they get ready, आप लोगों को पहले शांति पाठ बोलना है and then the भोजन मंत्र. Next week we are going to have a special presentation. We have amongst us the president of Mauritius Arya Sabha, Arya Pratinidhi Sabha, and his daughter. So the president is Sanjay ji and his daughter Harshana ji. So they are going to talk to us about Arya Samaj in Mauritius. So it was a surprise to me to understand or know what the scale and scope was, what the history is. It's a very interesting set of facts that they will share with you. So next week will be that presentation. So spread the word around. Of course, I expect all of you to be here. But there are others who might be interested. So please invite them to also join this.
Om Dev Shantirantariksam Shanti Prithvi Shantirapa Shanti शान्ति शान्तिरेव शान्ति सामा शान्तिरेधि ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ अन्नपते अन्नस्य नो देहनमि कस्य चुष्मिणः प्रदाय